Hi everyone, in this video we will be taking a look at how you can deploy Node.js applications on AWS Elastic Beanstalk. So let's get started. Firstly, let's understand what is Elastic Beanstalk. So Elastic Beanstalk is actually an excellent platform that is provided by Amazon Web Services, or AWS in short, because it helps us to deploy our applications and automatically scale them. So we can deploy applications built on various languages or frameworks such as Java, .NET, PHP, etc. Here, in this tutorial, we'll be looking at how we can deploy Node.js applications, as it's one of the most popular frameworks currently, and it's of course beginner friendly as well. The process of deploying is pretty straightforward. We just need to upload the code, and Elastic Beanstalk will automatically handle the deployment in the background because it abstracts away all the complexities and handles them automatically for you. In fact, you get a whole range of benefits when deploying through EB, such as load balancing, auto-scaling, and even health monitoring. This does not mean that you won't be able to configure them. You still gain granular control over these aspects, but EB just helps us to provide these services out of the box. Do note that while Elastic Beanstalk itself is free to use, there might be additional charges for the underlying services that it uses, for example like CloudWatch or Amazon S3. So the first step that we are going to do is to kickstart a simple Node.js application. We are going to do this through the Express Generator package, which helps us to create a boilerplate application. So you can refer to this website on expressjs.com to understand more about how this works, but what you get is a basic Node.js application that works out of the box. So let's jump into a terminal. Here I'm going to create a working directory for my application. I'm just going to call it an Express application or Express app. I'll go into this folder, and inside this folder I'm going to run the command npx space express dash generator, and this will install all the dependencies as well as create a nice little structure for our application. So that's it. To install the dependencies, we need to key in npm install, and now to run our application we need to do npm run start. So now that our application is started, we can visit localhost 3000 to see our application is running. So here it says Express and welcome to Express, which means our application is running successfully. So in the next step, we are going to go into our Amazon Web Services console, which I've opened here. Similarly, you can go to console.aws.amazon.com and log into AWS Console. Under there, you can search for this service called IAM, which is Identity and Access Management, which will land you in this page. So we are going to actually create the user and group on AWS first. So on the sidebar, we are going to find users, and we're going to land here. Here we're going to click on add users. We're going to call the username as deploy-eb, which is deploy Elastic Beanstalk. And I'm going to allow programmatic access because finally we are also going to use the command line to push our code to Elastic Beanstalk. So we're going to click on next, which is for permissions. So under here we're going to create a group, and we're going to call this group eb-deploy group, and for the policy let's actually give it administrator access for Elastic Beanstalk. So we're going to click on this, and we're going to click on create group. Now we can just speed through the rest of the steps by clicking next and do a final review, and then we create this user. So now what you're going to get is two important pieces of information. One is this access key ID, another is the secret access key. So I'm just going to download this CSV here. Make sure to save these two pieces of information somewhere safe. So once this is done, the next step is to actually configure a AWS profile on your command line. So if you don't already have AWS CLI installed, then you can go to this website here and follow this respective instructions to get that installed. So this has detailed instructions on how you can install AWS CLI, and you can install this version 2 here by following the steps here. Alright, once you've installed AWS CLI, we can go back to our terminal Let's stop our server which is running here, and let's configure the profile on our AWS CLI. So to do that, you can use this command, which is AWS configure, and you can give it this flag, which is -- profile. And here we have to give the profile name. So here I'm going to say deploy -eb, which is the name of the group that we created in our AWS console. And now I can press enter. And now it will be asking my AWS access key ID and the secret key, etc. And you can get all of this from the previous step. And there would have been a CSV file that you would have downloaded. So we can find this information from that file. So go ahead and copy those access key ID and the secret key. And you can leave the default region name. You can just press enter here. And the default output format, you can just choose none and just press enter. So now our AWS profile is ready. And the next step would be to actually initialize an Elastic Beanstalk application. You can do this directly through the CLI, and in this step, you need to have some CLI tools installed, which is specific to Elastic Beanstalk to get this working. So you can go to this link, which will guide you through the installation steps. So you can actually install using the setup scripts that's available here. And once done, the ELB CLI would be ready for use on your command line. So once you have done that, let's go back to the terminal, and within the working directory of our application, we are going to enter this command, which is eb init -- profile, and you can give it the profile name, which is deploy -eb. So press enter, and this is going to ask you to select default region, and you can just leave it as the default. Or since I'm based in Singapore, I can choose number 7, and this will choose the region for me. And you can leave the default values for the rest of it. So you can just press enter, and for this you can put no. So once this is done, our Elastic Beanstalk profile is set up, and the next step is to actually create an environment. So just like how applications maintain various versions of environments, such as release, QA, development, etc., EB uses the same concept. So here let's create an environment for our application by entering EB space create. So this is going to ask us a few different questions. So enter the environment name. So you can see there's already added a suffix of dev. So it's a dev environment, and I'm going to leave it just as it is. So press enter. And press enter for the DNS. Next, it will ask you for a load balancer type, and just choose the default for this as well. And it will ask if you want this. I'm just going to go with no, so press enter. And now you can see that it's doing a couple of steps. Firstly, it's uploading this entire package.zip to S3. So it's uploading the application to the storage service, and it has created an environment, which is express app-dev. The application name, the region, everything is specified, and we can see that it has created the environment and it is starting. And now that it is progressing, we can see that all the different steps it has been doing. So a security group has been created. Auto-scaling launch configuration is actually created. So all of this is coming out of the box by Elastic Beanstalk. So security groups, the auto-scaling configuration, load balancing, everything is managed and taken care of by Elastic Beanstalk. So at this point, it's safe to press Ctrl+C. While all of this is happening in the background, we can go about our development as usual. So press Ctrl+C. And at this point, what we're going to do is we're going to type ls-al, and we will see something new that has popped up here, which is this folder. It's a hidden folder because it's prefixed with a dot, and it says .elastic beanstalk. So if you go into this folder and if you list the contents, you would see a config.yaml file. So let's show the contents of this, and you can see that all the configuration for the Elastic Beanstalk service is being configured here, right? So there's global configurations, which contains the name, branch, the default platform, region, everything is being automatically configured. So everything has been configured in this config.yaml file. And now let's go back to our AWS console. So if you go to this console, you can search for Elastic Beanstalk. If you are not already on the page, you can select this option and you should land on this page. So if you go to environments, you can see that Express App Dev, so which is the environment that we created. So that is actually created, and the health check says okay. So everything is actually configured, and you will see that the URL is present here. So this is interesting. It has actually created everything, and a URL has been assigned. And let's open this URL. So let me open that, and you would see our application is live on the internet. So it's already running. So it says welcome to Express. So the same thing that we saw on localhost, and it's been already hosted for us, and we have a URL. That means the application is live. Next, let's go back and let's click on this environment. And here we will see that our Elastic Beanstalk application is successfully deployed. We can see the Node.js version that is running. The health check says okay. So all the status, everything is being reflected in this dashboard here. And that's it. With just a couple of clicks, we have our Node application deployed on Elastic Beanstalk. And what I'm going to show you next is how easy it is to also deploy changes to your Node.js applications. So to do that, let's go back to a terminal. So if you're still in this directory, you should move up by one level. So let's open up our application in a code editor if you have not already. So I have this opened here, and let's make a change. So to do that, let's go to the routes folder and click on index.js, and in here we can see a title is being passed, right? That's the title that we are seeing on our website. So here, so instead of that, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to change this to my Elastic Beanstalk app, right? So I've changed the title, and now I want to push these changes live, right? To do that, let's jump back to our terminal. And in here, we're going to say EB space deploy. And you would see a sequence of commands is popping up. So it's again uploading our zip file to S3. Environment update is starting. It's deploying a new version to the instance. And this point says save to Control C, which means to exit this. And we can see within a couple of seconds, it says that instance deployment completed successfully. New application version was deployed to to EC2 instances, and environment update completed successfully. Now let's go back to our console, and let's go back to our environment. So we would see this. So you can see that our last modified would reflect to will have been updated to the current time as when we push the changes. If you go back inside, you can see that the environment update completed successfully at 7:32. So everything is synced here into the recent events section of the dashboard as well. So the best part is if you go back to this URL and let's refresh this, you would see our title has changed. So the changes are live in just a couple of seconds. So that's how powerful Elastic Beanstalk can be to deploy our Node.js applications. Also in the log, you might have seen certain things like it's successfully deployed to EC2 instances. So how Elastic Beanstalk works is that it is orchestrating a lot of things in the background. So your code is actually running on EC2 instances. So if you go to EC2, and if you click this, and if you click on the instances in the sidebar, so this will load up the instances that are running. So you can see Express App Dev. So this is the one which belongs to our application. So this is running, right? It's running on instance type of t2.micro. So all of this has been configured. So our application is currently running on an EC2 instance. If you go into the auto scaling launch configurations, you can see there's a specific one that has been created, right? It belongs to a T2 micro instance, and the creation time was at the point when we created the Elastic Beanstalk app. So it has actually orchestrated a lot of things in the background for us. So similarly, if you actually go into the auto scaling group, you would see this. And here it says 1 instances, and the desired capacity is 1, minimum 1, and max of 4. So what this auto-scaling group does is that it will help to scale our application in case of peak loads or peak traffics, right? So there's always going to be a minimum of 1 instance which is running, but in the event that we need more instances, Elastic Beanstalk will actually use this auto-scaling group to scale our application instances to a maximum of 4. So that is the purpose of this auto-scaling group. So that's it. We saw how easy it was for us to kickstart a Node.js application on our local computer and get that live on the internet all in the matter of a few minutes, all through using Elastic Beanstalk. And not just that, we have actually ensured our application is able to scale well. It has things like health monitoring in place. All of this comes out of the box with Elastic Beanstalk. So that is the power of it. So I hope this video was really useful for you to understand how you can deploy Node.js applications on AWS Elastic Beanstalk. So if you found this video useful, do give me a like and do subscribe to the channel below for more upcoming content. Thank you.